Last but not least, we have Jeremiah Utek, who will be speaking to us about yarn. And Jeremiah has done many interesting things, from climbing professionally or getting paid to drive cars. Less interestingly, he currently manages projects and is starting his own company. He is a nerd with opinions. And he loves trivia and reading Wikipedia when he's bored. So let us give him a hearty welcome to our stage.
All right, so about 6 years ago, a lady in my church said, "I'll make you a hat if you buy me the yarn." Drug dealers use this tactic. And so like a babe into the woods, I went into the yarn store. And I quickly learned something. Like a beautiful woman in a comic book store, a dude in the yarn store sticks out. And so I found some yarn, and I was like, yeah, this will make me a nice hat. And I remember thinking, we need washcloths, and there's a washcloth here. And so I asked the very innocent, how hard is it to make a washcloth? And the lady saw me and went, not hard. And so I walked out with yarn to make a hat and yarn to make a washcloth. And I will not show you guys my first washcloth. It was terrible. So I've got some items to pass around while I'm talking.
The washcloth?
No.
Maybe after more beer.
The only thing I ask is if you've eaten greasy food, just kind of pass on them, because these are all natural fibers and can't be washed easily. So.
None for me.
Here, Batman. Oh, that's in the wall, doesn't matter. What's your guy?
Easy getting.
Dude on the end. Superman. Nice. Yeah. Here, guy. We'll do just one glove. We'll give that to you.
Michael Jackson.
And a hat I made on a trip to Omaha. And Superman again. Or Batman, sorry. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So, I'm an opinionated nerd. And I'll tell you, there's something really fascinating about synthetic fibers. And I don't give a damn. I've done commissions, I've knit things for people, people have paid me to knit, and my one rule is I do nothing in synthetic fiber. It's my hobby, I do it the way I want to. So here's the basics. All yarn is fibers spun together to make a continuous filament. That's all it is. So the stuff you use in your sewing machine to the stuff that's being passed around, that's yarn. Yarn's also an elaborate story, be it about beer or the statistics of how to win or not. we have cute cashmere goats. We have silk moths. We have seaweed. We got grumpy cat. All these things have one thing in common. You can turn them into yarn. We'll get to grumpy cat. So here's the thing. If it can be turned into something fibrous, it can be used in yarn. Bamboo, trees, flax, one of the oldest fabrics known to man, is a grass. Goat hair, camel hair, quivet, which I'll get to in a minute, or the kuna, which is more expensive by the ounce than gold. Oh, I'm tapping while I'm not looking. Rayon, invented in 1891. The most interesting thing about rayon, that's about all I'm going to do is synthetic fiber. All right, so I don't know if you guys have seen the PETA image with the bloody lamb, and they're like, you know, he got sheared. Hate to break his PETA, but if you get blood on the pelt of the fleece of the lamb, it actually drives the value down massively. So sheep actually don't mind getting sheared. This is an alpaca. And if you pay really close attention, he's tied up and strung out. They hate getting sheared. I have a friend who owns alpaca, and he will attest to the fact that they hate it. And this little guy, he's an Angora rabbit. And do you know how you shear an Angora rabbit? You walk up to it and you grab a big handful and you go shake, 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 and that's it. They're like your golden retriever times 20. This is interesting. This is a merino sheep. You know those really super expensive t-shirts and socks? Merino, it's a sheep breed that produces the finest, softest wool. And over time, they've actually bred out the ability for sheep to shed. This is Shrek. Shrek does not like being sheared. And Shrek is an escape artist. So for 6 years, Shrek would show up, eat, hang out, make baby lambs, and then come shearing time, Shrek would disappear. Off into the mountains he would go. And everybody would assume he would die. And then he'd show back up again. He'd be like, yo, shearing time's over. I'm here to make baby sheep, and I'm here to eat your food. And then he'd disappear. Finally, after 6 years, during shearing, Shrek walked in and went, I need a haircut, bro. Sadly, if Shrek didn't get sheared, it would actually have broken his body. Because I believe if I'm trying to write, his fleece weighed 76 pounds. Oh, wow. At the time we sheared him. Yeah, it's almost 100% of his body weight. All right. Everybody heard of cashmere? Yeah. Super nice. You wrecked that. Or the song. So the softness of any fabric you feel, t-shirt, yarn, hat, is directly corresponds to the diameter of the fiber used. What? The smaller the diameter, the softer it feels. The finest fiber known to man is a relative to the llama that lives in the Patagonias called Basuna. And it's never been domesticated. And they produce 3 ounces of fleece a year. Last I checked, a 2-ounce ball of sock weight yarn went for about $1,000. Wow. So by the ounce, it's more expensive than gold. You got alpaca. They're cute. They spit. You got quivet or muskox. You know the big shaggy guys with the horns that live up in the Arctic where nobody should bother them. Insanely soft, wonderful fleece. And you got merino, which we showed a picture of Shrek, the fluffy rabbit, the Angora goat, and then yak. Where's the white scarf?
White?
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
Green, whatever you want to call it. That is yak. The neck thingy, that was...
Brad thought it was a tube top.
Yeah.
My
my wife thinks it. That's alpaca. The big ball of white yarn is a merino that comes from Montana. So let's get into a little bit of history here. Hate to rain on the parade of beer, but the oldest known artifact that had a fabric of any kind is 20,000 years old. Came from Egypt, made of cotton. How it lasted 20,000 years, that's a different time. So it's old, like hell old. You see this little doohickey thing here? That's a spinner. That, by the way, is a 5,000-year-old vase. And so a spinner is you have fiber, and you have basically a top that spins, and it's a very old way of making yarn. Now, this is where I need to give you guys just a little bit of a disclaimer. When it comes to me being nerdy, shut up, John. I'm nerdy in a very specific slant. I do not spin my own yarn. I consider that like the bridge too far. But I love yarn. So let's just get right down to it. What makes yarn? Doesn't matter. All yarn goes through these steps. First of all, you have to prepare the fiber. So you take a sheet. Let's just use my Santa hat. That's made of merino from Montana. So this sheep's been wandering around all year, you know, in the brush, rubbing up against things, sweating. Not really nice. So you shear the sheep, and it's full of lanolin, which is kind of like sheep wax. They actually make like lip balm and lipstick and soap out of it. It's actually kind of good stuff. Well, you know, yeah.
Say the words I think.
Yep.
Let's be honest. It's sheep sweat. So sometimes, depending on what process you go through, they'll take all of these fleeces, they'll put them in a big oven. It's called carbonizing. They'll raise the temp up just to the point wool doesn't actually burn. So they'll carbonize all the impurities out and then wash it and it goes away.
Do they do that in a low oxygen environment, or can they just do that?
They do it in natural environments because they're cheap.
Nerd question!
Personally,
Good thing we're all nerds.
I'm not a fan of that. I like to stay really close to the natural fibers as I can get. But it does work. There's also a process called.
Honest question. When you say it doesn't burn, does that literally mean you can't light it on fire?
If you apply flame to it and take the flame away, it will not burn.
It also oxidizes, but it doesn't itself.
It doesn't support combustion on its own. Blame the flickers on that. So I like really as close to natural as I can get. Lanolin provides a little bit of water protection, a few things like that I find pretty good. This is also the stage where if you're going to have a blend. So the big ball of pink and other yarn, that is a mix of cotton, bamboo, and superwash wool meant specifically for babies' stuff.
Babies leak.
Stuff. I made bunting bags. Anybody know what a bunting bag is? It's a bag with arms and a zipper, and you put a baby in it, you zip it up, and it looks really cute.
It's so they can pick and it's easy to change their diaper.
Nobody's ever complained when I gave them one.
Yeah, I've done it at least once.
So it's in this state you're going to combine the fibers. Then you're going to do carding. Now we all think, card at the bar, all that stuff. All carding is you kind of have to get. Imagine all of these fleeces, right? Get piled in, and it's just big, massive fibers going all different directions. If it's wool, or like sheep's wool, it's crimpy. It's got little zigzags in it, so I mean, it's like crazy. So you kind of need it all going in the same general direction. So that's what card does. It separates the fibers, kind of gets them all going in the same direction. And then you comb it. I really hate to break it down here, but it's exactly what it sounds like. You run it through a comb, and depending on what it is, you may run it through several times. So all the fibers are going the same direction. Now this is really, really important, especially when it comes to something like cashmere. Any fiber that's not going in the same direction, the manufacturing process will automatically kind of weed out. And when you're talking about a cashmere that's worth, maybe $100 a pound, all that crap that ends up around the machines actually adds up. And then you draw it. So you've got all this fiber, it's been combed, it's all very nice. Then you start stretching it out. Stretch it out, stretch it out. You're going to give it just a little bit of twist, kind of make it all kind of cohese. And then you're going to twist it. And this isn't actually the part everybody thinks about the spinning of yarn. The twist, all the twist is takes these elongated strands and gives them even more spin. It allows you to take. You can take the end product of this, called roving, stuff it in a bag, and it's going to stay relatively in this single long strand. Makes it really easy. I've got a really weird question. How many of you guys work at Aldebaran?
Used to?
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. I saw the Aldebaran shirt, and it was like, this has actually been picking at me since I got it.
That was cool, man.
How many people here used to work at Aldebaran? Just kidding. But if they wanted to.
So you take the roving, and the roving is what goes into what you consider spin. Now, there's lots of different spin. There's the hobbyist, what we consider hobbyist now, where you spin your own yarn, and then there's the factory style. The Santa hat and the big white ball is what's called mule spun yarn. Yes, sir.
Is there like an MMO game or RPG that you can learn all this?
Did you say I can learn all this?
Play it online or whatever.
The next step I
You know what? I did make a bunch of crap in WoW out of wool.
Just curious.
So many years of my life gone.
Like an algorithm, you know? Yeah.
So we get back to the base, the 5,000-year-old base with the little thing, and that's the spindle up there. This is Grandma with her Saxony wheel, and this is a mule spinner.
No.
The most active mule spinner in the world right now is actually just north of Montana and Canada, and they produce what, in my highly opinionated manner, some of the finest wool spun yarn. So you can make continuous. You can spin it's called open ring spinning. You actually spin with air, and it's actually really cool to see where the fiber comes down and it actually sits there and spirals, and it's air twisting it, and they make thousands and thousands and thousands of yards of continuous fiber that way. And it's really cool. It makes really great things like t-shirts, blankets, things like that. But when it comes to knitting hats, where you kind of want fabric that feels alive, it's kind of like the difference between recorded and live music. Live music is awesome because of its imperfections, its variations. So that's why I dig mule spinning. So what mule spinning does is you got these little spindles here, right? And they spin, and the machine draws out and creates tension, spins it, and then it stops and rewinds it all, and then comes back. And so what you get is the yarn has a rhythm to it. And you can tell in the hat. I mean, the hat turned out perfectly. It's not weird. Doesn't have big, thick, or thin sections. And it turned out really nice. So, you'll spun yarns. Awesome. All right, so what? I mean, come on. It's yarn. We're all wearing clothes. You know. But here's a couple things to consider. The textile industry was a crucial, massive economic revolution as part of the Industrial Revolution. It literally changed how the world did things. Clothes used to be one of those things, like, okay, who here has darned socks? All right.
I have.
Did you knit them yourselves?
I did not knit them myself, but I have darn socks.
So one person out of a lot. That used to be absolutely necessary because a pair of socks would have been roughly the equivalent of 30, 40 bucks. Okay, so darning socks would be, you get a hole in your sock, and you get a darning aid, and you actually knit the missing portion, and you repair your sock.
Yeah, just to be, like, you know, clarify, I have done costume design, we had silk socks, it would have been, you know, better to darn them than to buy a new pair of $50 socks.
So that's the macroeconomic section. But you know, it's the end of the night. We've all been drinking. Woo! Yeah! Come on, let's be honest. What lady in here didn't go? Look at my man. Look at my man. Look at this guy. Can't be this guy, but he can wear his hat. No, this lady, she's like, I lost my pants in the wheat field. And I'm absolutely 100% straight. But I saw this picture and I went, I get it. Now that's apparently some famous dude. If anybody's really curious, there are whole Pinterests and Tumblrs dedicated to hot guys wearing sweaters with beards. And there's also one, and it's the most strangely specific thing I've ever found. Beautiful women in big sweaters not wearing pants. And then Alicia Silver, so like, I'm going through here, and it was just my birthday, so I'm feeling a little old, and I'm like, wow, she was like, my crush. So she had gone. So that's the fun side of knit goods. But before I wrap up, oh yeah, never mind. I'm a big sweater guy. Jim Franco. So let's just end on a really weird note. There's an entire cottage industry
Oh, wow.
that turns all that fur your pet leaves into yarn. And I thought that was weird. I was kind of like, that's weird. The best part is, there's now a sub-cottage industry that will turn them into little voodoo dolls representing your pet, your dearly departed pet. I've included URLs for those of you who
Save up all your...
Blaine in the back.